Greetings, stowaways. This bonus content contains spoilers up to episode 75. If you don't want to be spoiled, wait until then to listen to it. Enjoy.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Flintlocks and Fireballs Q&A episode. I'm your host and, frankly, producer, Ellie Sparrow, and I am joined, as ever, by Sam, Roses, Burns, Robbie, also Flowers, Bellicom, and Jason, Pooh Phelps. Because this is what you get when you let me host. So, happy 75 episodes, everyone.
Happy 75 episodes.
Yeah. We've just recorded like 82, so that feels a bit weird. But for you all listening to us, you've just had number 75. So welcome to our celebratory 75 episodes Q&A episode.
Woo.
That was a lot of episodes in the same sentence.
It was.
But hey-ho. So we're going to get right to this because you had a lot of questions, it turns out. And we have a slightly terrifying number of questions to answer. We're going to try and get through all of them, but if we can't, we'll reevaluate. So just, if we can't, please don't be sad, because there are a lot of them. So our first lot of questions are from Dragon Samuel, at Sam Likes Dragons on Twitter.
Hello, Samuel.
So they have asked a few things. Also, I should say, if we don't answer your question, there are a few that we are very definitely skipping. If we don't answer your question, the answer as to why is spoilers.
Yeah, or it was asked last Q&A.
Yeah, and we didn't want to just say a really interesting question and then just repeatedly say spoilers, basically, because we thought that wouldn't be fun to listen to. So if you sent more questions than we ask, the answer is spoilers as to why we haven't answered. Yeah. So please bear with us on that one. We don't want to reveal too much in a Q&A rather than the story. I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this first one. How do you decide who can see spirits in Calcinia? They're a really interesting part of the lore, and I'm curious if there's a method to it.
It's essentially random. There is the people of Calcinia have determined through long observation that it has nothing to do with genetics. It does not follow family lines. Statistically, recent observations in the University of Kion have found that around 1 in 5,000 people randomly has the ability to see spirits.
Oh, wow.
That's quite fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a very unlikely party.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
I can't see spirits.
And you are even more unlikely.
This is true. The next one is, are you guys okay after that last arc? Meaning the Underdark one, where Celestia got kidnapped.
I mean, like you said, this is now like episode 82, so now, yes, then no.
Oh, straight afterwards, absolutely not.
No. No.
Yeah, although that was a very, very full-on one.
Yeah, it was a lot. We all cried a lot. Yeah.
Yes.
How do you guys make notes during a session, both as players and as DM?
Badly.
As quietly as possible.
Silently.
Badly.
I have a notepad in front of me, down the right-hand side of which I furiously scribble all of the tech breaks that I'm going to have to cut out later in editing. And on the right-hand side, I'd like to imagine that I, laboriously put down into my huge Calcinia binder all of my details. But more often than not, it's just frequent, quick, NPC now. Maybe I'll remember it later. I won't.
My notes are absolute
The
bullshit.
choice of things being recorded is, if there's something I really need to remember in between, I can just go back and listen to it.
Which is honestly very helpful, because all of my notes are like, Tavern, don't trust elf. 30 gold, green, yes. I'm like, what does this mean?
I mean,
we haven't even reached Kevin.
Oh.
No, also, listen, is it 81 we recorded the other night?
Yeah.
Listen out for me reading a small sample of my notes and why I should not be allowed to take important notes.
Oh, keeping them in suspense for 6 episodes, Robbie.
Yeah.
Goodness.
It's not worth the wait.
It's not worth the wait.
I am playing a character with a moderately low, average intelligence. I don't worry too much about forgetting things.
Okay, next one. What made you decide to start a podcast? Was it easier or harder than you thought? And did you ever think Flintlocks would get as big as it did? Which is adorable. It's so cute.
Aww.
I love it. I will take it because I just answered this question on a panel. So the reason we started a podcast is frankly because we're all massive nerds. We all really liked stuff like Critical Role, and we're all basically professional improvisers. So we figured we could bring something to the table in the world of D&D podcasts. Also, it meant that we would get to play together every week, solidly, forever.
That's kind of the big one to
really
me.
good.
So nice, yeah.
Yeah.
How often do you find a group that manages to play every week?
So rare.
Seriously.
Harder than you'd imagine.
Yeah. Was it easier or harder than you thought? What are general thoughts on that?
Easier in some ways, harder in others.
Yeah, it depends what you're talking about. Like,
I think it was just a lot more complicated than I first anticipated.
More technical hurdles.
Not in a
than
bad
expected.
way, but yeah.
I mean, being part of the community has been easier than I thought because everybody's really super nice, and
Very
getting people
much so,
enthusiastic is lovely because nerds are enthusiastic people, which is really nice.
It's wonderful.
So yeah, yes and no is the answer to was it easier or harder than you thought. So, did you ever think Flintlocks would get as big as it did? Not. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're still a small podcast.
Yeah.
But I did not think we would be at this point. Now.
I didn't think we'd be here now. No.
No, I thought we'd be here 3 years in. To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar to Jason, I had high hopes, but I had no idea.
I too had high hopes. I just thought it would take a lot longer to be at this point that we're currently at.
Yeah.
Very much. But it's cool. I'm here for it. It's lovely.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, next question, my friends. A more fun question. If you had to choose one race for your characters outside of the race they are, what would it be? Bonus, same question for class.
Ooh.
Celestia would be a tiefling cleric of Dionysus. I think she'd make a good tiefling.
Oh, Scamp would love to be a cleric.
Oh,
They'd love to heal.
They would. They'd be so happy.
Warlock would be
very
fun.
nearly made Corzin a gnome before that was vetoed for plot reasons.
Yes, it did.
Gnomes were not a playable race at the start of this campaign.
Yeah, no, I would totally go gnome is another option. Gnome warlock.
Oh,
Scamp would make a great gnome warlock.
they would actually, wouldn't they?
Because it's got to be something where the power comes without training. So
it does. It's got to be something you kind of get from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So our next set of questions are from Sarah at spicy_burritos on Twitter. We love you, Sarah.
We love you, Sarah.
Sarah made our fan server on Discord. If you want to find it, go to our website. It's
There is a
there.
link.
Everybody's super nice. You should do it. First one. What Hogwarts houses do both sets of player characters belong to? Jason, pick 2 NPCs for this one.
Cool.
It's hard. I think Celestia's a Gryffindor. I just get that feeling.
Yeah.
Especially with recent episodes, she feels like a Gryffindor these days. Oksana's a Ravenclaw.
I think Corzin's Gryffindor. And, Sabnet's obviously Slytherin.
Hufflepuff and Slytherin. You decide which way round.
I can't possibly tell.
Oh, could that possibly?
I'm going to go for so I'm not going to go for the obvious ones. Like we have no doubt about where Olga would go. I would put
Hufflepuff.
Friendship is everything.
Death Eater.
Yes. Molly is Gryffindor without a doubt.
Yes.
Yes.
So much.
I feel like Alton Appleblossom might be a Hufflepuff though.
Yeah, that makes so much
a
sense too.
long-suffering Hufflepuff.
A
No, he is.
long-suffering Hufflepuff. Yeah.
Jason, besides blood sacrifice, how do you prepare to DM for each session?
I think the answer to that question is included in the question. However, besides blood sacrifice, weeks beforehand, I will in a moment where before preparing desperately at the last minute for another session, hastily scribble a few incoherent lines into a book or into my phone or onto one of my many disparate Google Sheets. Then I will forget about it for several weeks until immediately before the session in question, whereupon I will desperately cram about a paragraph of incoherent notes, make some quick references as to what monsters I'm likely to need, and then at the last moment wing it based on all the information I've put together. I am forever writing just beyond the horizon.
And you do it beautifully.
You do it
Natalie.
very well.
I guess in a more practical answer, broad strokes and then detail as you get closer to the event.
I'm sure the fact that you write Towards the Horizon will be very comforting for a lot of people,
Yeah.
to be honest, because you do it so well.
Yeah.
Another for Jason.
Yeah.
You have a lot of questions because you're the DM,
Fair
so
enough.
get excited. Jason, what inspired Calcinia? Besides the real-world analogues that pop up from time to time, are there any other sources that you draw on for inspiration?
Okay, real world analog is a big one. I draw on some literature that I'm fond of, like less so some of the swords. There's swords and sorcery type classics. I draw. Part of me draws a little bit from Joe Abercrombie's. I can't remember if the Blade itself is the name of the whole series of books or not. But there's something about the grey morality in that really appeals to me in a setting and multiple viewpoints. But honestly, the whole thing started out with me going, you know what would be cool? If gnomes lived in the place where dreams happened, and if people rode around in the sea or on land on the backs of giant Tarasques, and we called them fortress beasts, and then sod it, let's put it. I'm not in the mood for medieval. Let's put some flintlocks in, and the whole thing became naval when Sam wanted to play a sailor.
I love that that's the whole reason for like our whole gig.
The Kraken wasn't a thing until Sam came to me and said, like, I want to play a sailor whose goal is to kill a Kraken. How about killing the Kraken?
How about I make it worse?
The weight of that decision I was not aware of at the time I made it. But I'm so glad.
You are responsible for like our whole marketing shtick, like everything about us is because you played a sailor, which is amazing.
Yeah, like a mixture, like, but in terms of influences, Joe Abercrombie, Terry Pratchett, a whole bunch of classic stuff.
Awesome. Okay, our next set of questions are from Flora May, and they are asking, how did you land upon the idea to bring in a second set of player characters to round out the parties during the split?
That was the result of a quiet discussion between me and Ellie.
He basically took me to the side and went, so there's a possibility Celestia might get kidnapped. How would you feel about not playing her for a bit? Are you comfortable with that?
Would
Should
you
we
like
do
to
something
play
else?
another character?
Yeah.
And it suggested, what about if everyone had another character so that people aren't missing out?
Yeah. Basically, I was really sad at the thought of just leaving her for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I hated the idea of just leaving her in a hole in the ground on her own without me playing
It'd
her.
be awful.
It would be so sad, and I couldn't deal.
Horrible.
I'd like to point out to listeners that when I broached this subject, I made it sound as if, like, in 8 episodes' time, this might happen. It was immediately before the episode where I kidnapped her.
He did make it sound like it was...
You're the worst.
Yeah, like it was not going to happen for a while. And then... Yeah, the end of the episode where I get kidnapped, we talked about it as a group. Like, so this has happened. Yeah, and then we brought me in.
And then you
Then we
furiously
brought
wrote
each other
characters
in.
over
Yeah.
a week.
Yeah, we furiously
Yeah.
made characters, and it was the most fun. Actually, I loved it.
Yeah.
That's great.
That kind of goes on to our next question. How do you all feel about your respective new characters?
They're a
That's
mess.
quite a broad question, actually.
I'm obsessed with Oksana. I miss her so much.
Yeah.
I just talk like her because I miss her all the time.
No, I have to say I had an awful lot of fun playing Sabnet, and I'm glad that hopefully we're not done with him and the other characters entirely. But yeah,
I love Xander. It's fun being manipulative, and clerics are really fun to play.
Yeah, clerics are so fun. I
I
mean,
think for both of us. Sorry to cut across you,
Oh,
but I
don't
think
worry.
for both of us was playing something that was so totally 180 degrees different to our regular characters up to that point.
it was really fun. Really, really
It's
fun.
fun playing a character that's doing good but isn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird. It was an
I-
interesting thing.
I enjoyed playing a character who's a bit jaded and got less so. That was fun.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't expecting her to get less jaded. Like, one of the things that I wrote down on flaws for her was, jaded and bitter and tired because of the life that she's led.
Yeah.
And the change in her that came was one of the most exciting things. Like, Scamp really just shifted things for Oksana, which was fascinating. Because, I did not plan for that. That just happened. That was something I loved. This kind of goes on to the next question, actually. Do you have any specific plot threads with them that you'd like to follow up on?
Everything.
Every single
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, playing
Let's burn
with
the Underdark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all these
Playing with
characters have shit to do, don't they, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Sam?
I was going to say, playing with the culture shock of having come from a very, in a lot of ways, sexist society towards men, and having that sort of rapid change from coming from that into a society that doesn't so much.
Yeah.
Because it was one of the things I really enjoyed exploring with that character in general, was that particular side of things.
I kind of want like a spin-off with Sabnet where we just see him doing everyday things on the surface. Sabnet goes for an ice cream. Like Sabnet goes to the beach. Like, I would watch it. I would, like, if that was a small cartoon, I would watch it. I'd be very happy. But yeah, I mean, Oksana's got so much to do. Like, she needs to do some amazing army mage stuff and then help cause and kill the Kraken.
Yeah, and these characters, I'm certain, will return again in the main story. Who knows? Maybe they'll do their own spin-off on Dinosaur Island. I have no idea what will happen.
It could be fun.
Yeah.
On a somewhat unrelated note, this is the next question. How do you all manage to work around your busy lives and get a game in most weeks? In brackets, I assume it's not every week, but it's regular enough that you haven't run out of buffer at least. Oh, hun, it is every week.
It is every week.
It really is.
It really is.
Yeah.
As much as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, we do a lot of doubles if we know that we have something coming up where we're not going to be able to record. Like, we've done a couple this week because Christmas is coming up. Like, Robbie's away for a couple of weeks in January, so we've been doing extra ones to kind of cover that time. So the answer is just being, like, really far ahead. And as for scheduling, just, like, regular crying. Like, mostly, to be honest.
We also record late at night.
We do.
Which does help.
Yeah, we start at, like, 8 p.m, so we do it all after work, because none of us work evenings, so that does help.
Yeah.
And we can usually find one evening where we're all free.
Yeah.
It's usually Mondays, but sometimes it isn't, because things, so, yeah. But yeah, as for scheduling, just, crying and doing our best, I feel, is the best answer we can give to that question, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Covers it.
Yeah, the freelance troubles. Okay. So, next person's question.
Enough Sander music. Let's switch to Oscar. Not Oscar, Gunter.
Oh, in the sex shop music.
Yeah, it's the Gunter music.
Oh, it's the Gunter's a friendly orc.
Hello.
We have questions from Robert, the GM.
Okay.
I can't ask the question in that voice.
But maybe I can answer them in this.
Maybe we can. So, the first question. How much did you all know about Calcinia when making characters, i.e. did Robbie know about teleportation being an abnormal ability? I'm just going to say I knew fuck all about Calcinia. I don't know about the other two.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I gave some
Things
embarrassed
that were pertinent
bones.
to my history.
No, I knew very little. I think, to be honest, we kind of fleshed out the Underdark a little bit as a pair while we were doing Celestia's backstory. Like, I think you played off that. Obviously, you then took it and ran, but I think,
There's quite a lot there. There's a lot. I'll be honest. There's a whole writing just beyond the horizon. Sometimes there are significant decisions that I hadn't realised I'd made until after we'd made them as well. So I'm just going to be very honest and say the whole teleportation thing. I didn't realise that was the thing until I suddenly noticed there's no teleportation anywhere. Let's just say that's a whole thing.
this world doesn't look like a world with teleportation, so therefore it
I'm
doesn't
going to
count.
count Gunter seriously. There's so many things have been like the world does not look like a world that has teleportation, hidden dimensions, bags of holding, doppelgangers.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, they changed
Entirely
the world.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, didn't give you much
Okay.
information.
Was there ever a consideration for using a different system for this campaign? Nah.
Not to my knowledge.
Not really. Like I considered playing with like the open legend system early on, but this was a system we were comfortable with, and
Yeah, we all knew
Yeah.
it. And if we wanted to tell a story, it was a nice
it's a
one.
good one to tell. And yeah,
Yeah.
like there are many great systems out there, but this is the one we
there
wanted to play
are,
with.
but because we were committing for such a long time,
Yeah.
it was one that we all knew already,
Yeah.
and that was nice,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
What are the plans for determining the fate/successes of the siblings? This might be a spoilers question. I don't know.
You assume there are plans.
Bold of you to assume
Bold
there
of
are
you to
plans.
assume that I'm not making this up on the spot. Anything that's not spoilers, I don't know. I only know the spoilers stuff. The rest is
enough.
just going to depend on what happens.
Fair play. Next one is also a question for Jason. Jason, how much world building is done reactively to questions or directions the parties go? For instance, how much did you have prepared about the Underdark before the party went down there?
Okay, the Underdark is a special exception because I had quite a lot prepared before the party went down there, but that's because I'd spent literally months having short conversations with Ellie, like little in-character scenes where we'd fleshed out bits of it, and there were some cool things I decided I really wanted, like worm trains and so on. But again, it depends. If I know we're going somewhere, then the month immediately beforehand is likely to be an absolute frenzy of creation, where I quickly pen things down and try and do things out. But the fact is, we all live really busy lives, and I don't have as much time to work on world building as I would like. So sometimes it's furiously designed in advance. Sometimes I do know it well in advance, and sometimes I make it up on the spot based on what I think would be true given the other things I know.
Are you okay? That's not a question from the stowaway, that's just a general check-in. Jason again. Any plans on making a wiki or setting guide for Calcinia? In brackets, I promise I'm not just asking because I want all the answers this person has written.
I'm not necessarily planning on putting a wiki together. If someone else wants to do that, of the stuff that's already come out,
might actually be a little tiny baby one in the works.
Baby one in existence
from Stowaways.
But if someone wants to do that, you have my full seal of support. Someday we may release a setting guide, but I can't make solid promises on that.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
We'll have to see what happens.
But never say never.
I'll never say never.
Yeah.
Players, what came first for you all, acting or tabletop role-playing games, or have they always been hand in hand? Acting, for me, massively.
Acting first,
yeah.
Tabletop roleplay.
Although
Actually, no. Strictly speaking, school acting came first.
Yeah.
yeah.
But you didn't want
I
to be an
started
actor
acting
until
classes
after
when I
you
was like
role-played, did you?
tiny.
What were you saying, Bob?
I did like Lambda exams when I was about 5, so.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
there's still things like playing games in the outside, pretending you're a knight and hitting each other with sticks. That's as long as I can remember.
Yeah, no, same.
Yeah.
I was
So it's
hugely
fantasy
into pretend
games since I was,
Yeah.
but yeah, not tabletop necessarily.
I mean, I didn't do tabletop until after I'd been to drama school, so it's definitely acting for me. I mean, not after, but like while I was at drama school is when I started, so acting was definitely first. But yeah, everyone except Jason acting was first.
Yeah.
Jason's been DMing forever.
So long.
Next question. Oh, I wasn't prepared for how cute this was at all. What's it like being one of the best podcasts I've ever freaking listened to with such a generous wealth of beautifully realised and emotional content? Love heart.
It's really awesome.
Well, I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
It's lovely because we
yeah.
get comments like that.
Absolutely.
It's lovely.
I love our community.
Robert the GM, we
Yeah.
love you. You're so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
I hadn't caught that on my first read through of the questions, so that was very cute. Thank you. We love you. Okay, I have our next person. Jazzman Testifies. I think you can find them on Twitter. So, how emotional were you all during the end of episode 72? I wish I could give you all hugs. I cried during that scene. Well, you're being adorable, Stowaway. Stop it. I think everyone cried.
Yeah.
In 2 different characters.
Oh, you cried
Which
in
is
both
so
characters?
weird.
Oh, that's the worst. I've never done that. That's horrible.
It's so hard.
Yeah. Fuck me, mate.
Yeah.
Acting, Jesus, you cried in 2 different characters at the same time.
I cried in the character I never expected to cry in.
We
Because
all
Sam
did
is
that.
not a crier.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. I mean, Oksana didn't cry in that scene because she's a general, but yeah, I cried in Oksana at a different time when I really wasn't expecting to ever as that character. But yes, the answer is, yeah, we were very emotional. We all cried. I think everybody at the table cried. Next question: are you going to play actual Cannibal Shia LaBeouf again? Oh, yeah, probably.
Sure.
Is the answer.
so.
Yeah.
Especially if we keep hearing from you all that you liked it. So, the answer is yes, but we're not sure when, let's say, because we will do a Shia LaBeouf special at some point. It's bound to happen. But yeah, thank you. We love you. So these questions are all from Luke Malone. Now, a couple of your questions we have already answered in this Q&A because we were talking about planning, and your questions are about how we plan. Your last one is I've fallen in love with the characters of Scamp, Celestia and Corzin, and also the menacing god known as the DM so much. I would very much like to use their personalities in my book. Would that be okay with you? The answer is DM us.
DM us on that.
Because, if they're gonna, pop up in a bar briefly as, a small cameo, lovely.
Awesome.
Well up for little cameos. But if you want to, write a book about them, they are ours. So no.
Yeah.
We might want to write a book about them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But for somewhere in between those two polls, DM us.
Yeah, to be honest, either way DM us because
Either way, DM us.
we'd like
Yeah.
to talk to you about it. Or
Yeah,
email us.
absolutely.
Everything's on the website where you can get in touch with us. But to be honest, that is also lovely.
Yes.
Thank you for loving them
Yeah.
very
Very
much
lovely.
that you want to do that.
It's
either
lovely to
way.
be
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah, no, we
That's
really appreciate
super
it.
nice.
And thank you for being so enthusiastic. It's very sweet. So our next person is Devon. And we have questions one for everyone and then one for each of us. So for everyone, this one made me laugh when I first read it. In coming up with your secondary characters for the Celestia rescue arc, what drove you to choose the accents you did? I could do an Eastern European accent and knew I'd have to do it for a long time, so I just picked one that I was comfortable with, basically.
Didn't stop me setting an entire arc in pseudo-France.
Yeah. What about you two?
I don't do accents at all.
Fair.
It was a different voice, and it just suited the character, and ended up being not dissimilar to what Sam chose without really us consulting, which was
Yeah, we didn't
Really
actually
nice.
talk about that specifically.
but that had a
It's really
similar
fun.
energy.
Yeah. Well, for me, I knew that the default Drow accent was basically Southern Standard English, so I decided to play about with what my normal speaking voice was to come up with something that was distinct, and I ended up kind of going for something that sounded a bit like young Christopher Lee, and I ended up with this.
There was also the fact that as soon as I decided she was a secret tiefling, I did think about where have tieflings been in this world, and we had talked about there being secret tiefling houses in Meadmere, in the sort of
Little
more
vales.
wildernessy bits.
Yeah.
So I thought that she could be from a farm in the middle of nowhere in Meadmere, basically, and Meadmere has always been this voice, so kind of worked. So this question is specifically for Sam.
Okay.
Which character do you relate to more, Sabnet or Corzin, and why?
Ooh, well, my knee-jerk answer is Corzin, although I have to say, with both of them, there's aspects that I don't relate to easily, but that's half the fun of playing them for me, is I get to explore that.
Yeah, it's a stretch,
Yeah,
which is fun.
yeah.
Cool. Robbie, this question is for you. What do you think is the hardest part to remember about Scamp's character, whether that be an item, a personality trait, Jeffrey, etc.? Jeffrey, what are you doing here?
Jeffrey, mage armor. Mage armor.
Yeah.
I need to. Yeah.
That's entirely reasonable.
Occasionally I forget that it's one spell per round.
Oh.
So yeah, but cantrips you can quicken. So yeah. It's things like that, and using too many sorcery points because you can only use certain ones that double up, and I don't think little bits of tech once in a while, but character-wise, it's pretty simple because I've done it for so long now.
Has been ages.
Yeah.
The next question is for me, so it feels weird that I'm asking it, but I'm going to anyway. So this is for me. What part of Celestia's character would you say is the furthest from your own personality? Again, I laughed when I read this because I know what it is. I've had therapy. And I'm like,
Oh, no.
because I've had so much therapy, I have coping mechanisms. Like I have them that aren't like terrible and self-destructive for me. And also like I'm self-aware because of all the therapy that I've had.
Yeah.
Me and Celestia have a lot of crossover, but I would say that is the absolute main difference, that all the therapy that I've had. Have therapy if you have access to it. It's great. It means that you don't end up like Celestia Stardust. We love her, but she's not doing that well, let's be honest.
But yeah, she does not exist in a time period with accessible therapy.
She just needs like a year of good therapy, like she
Yeah.
really does. But yeah, it's nice to have a place to put all the bad coping mechanisms you could have if things were different. D&D therapy, same thing. It's really not. Don't use D&D as
Please
therapy.
do not use D&D as therapy.
Use it as a place to express things.
Yes.
Great. Don't use it as therapy.
Yeah.
So next one, passing over that, is for Jason.
Ooh.
Which recurring NPC do you find yourself having the hardest time jumping into, and in turn, which is the easiest?
Easiest is Olga. By far, Olga.
I hate that.
Wow.
Why are you like this?
This doesn't take any effort at all.
That's terrifying.
That's
Yeah.
the worst.
Hardest to jump into. Some of them are difficult because I don't go into them often. Like Hope is a bit difficult because I don't spend a lot of time as Hope.
Yeah.
Like if we're going to the Grimanis, I'm more likely to spend time as Wisdom or Justice.
Yeah.
In terms of regular characters that are hard to jump into, kind of hard to say. Not honestly a lot of them that are too hard. I think it takes me a little bit of effort to get into Scrimshaw. Yeah. Which is
Grimshaw's
odd
very far from your own
because
voice,
a
though.
different hag, but like or hag-like entity, but certainly same, but different enough in psychology and so on. It's a little bit harder to get into it.
Yeah, totally. Right, we're going to move on to our next person who's asked questions. So these are all from Liz, also known as VT Sphinx on Twitter. How did you build your original characters? Was it a collaborative process between all of you, or just individual players and Jason? Just individual players and Jason.
And in completely different ways.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, shall we talk about, because we did it
I think we can
literally
now,
three
yeah,
different ways. Shall we I mean,
So I start with you.
how I did it, I've kind of always been like this with characters. I love really complicated and intense backstories. Like even when I'm doing a play, I'm like this. So I mean, basically there was a one shot that we did, which was run by Sam and also had Robbie in, and Jason playing Fighty. That was Fighty's
That was
first
the first time
appearance.
we all played together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It was like the same day I met you, Sam. It's
it
ridiculous.
was. That
That
the
is
day-
kind of ridiculous,
Yeah.
but
It was the day
also
Robbie and Sam
portentous.
Yeah, it was
Well,
Jason's
it was the
birthday.
day.
Yeah.
We met the night before, but it was within
Yeah.
the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's super weird. But yeah, I wanted a character to play, and like I was coming up with something last minute. I just leafed through the player's handbook and was like, "Oh, bard, that sounds fun. I can kill people by singing." And then like leafed through to like races, and drow I thought was like a hilarious combination with bard because it says that they're like really like super evil and oppressive and like all that stuff. I was like, what if I play like the Billy Elliot of bards? like she's a bard, and it's like that scene in the Monty Python film where he's like, son, one day all of this will be yours. He's like, I just want to sing. So that's kind of I just made myself laugh and made this like very broad stroke Celestia and put her in a one shot. And then when we were going to do a campaign, I was like, that was the most fun I've ever had playing D&D, so Celestia is going to be my long-term character. And then kind of looked at this ridiculous codpiece wearing mess that I'd made and just went, why is she like this?
Yeah, how did this person get to be here?
Why on earth would a person ever be like this? And ended up with this complex backstory that you've now had
Rebuilt.
quite a lot of.
Quite a lot of, but there's still a fair bit missing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I kind of, and me and Jason talked about the backstory and collaborated on that side of things, so a lot of it ended up in the world that Jason was making. That was mine anyway. Somebody go next.
Let's go for, I think, Sam next, actually,
It's
because
probably the most different from mine, yeah.
Corzin, I believe, owes a lot of his creation to Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
Yeah.
Yes. Quite apart from just his subclass, but a lot of his backstory as well. I quite relish the idea of having a random element in the character creation process, and then kind of joining the dots and seeing even if it's possible. So this is why, for example, I rolled for an awful lot of elements of Corzin's personality and makeup. It's why he is 2'10", for example. I was like, yeah, great, that's a nice defining character feature. He's short even for a halfling.
For those of you who have the Xanathar's Guide to Everything, because I've got it open in front of me, page 69 is the life events by age page. We rolled, and you got 9 life events out of a possible
10.
And I remember we hit the "you have suffered a tragedy" number so many times that I said, re-roll that one, that's too many tragedies.
It was at least 5 out of the 9 times.
Yeah.
But it did kind of inform what came next, which was the overarching goal of killing a kraken.
Yeah.
I mean, you fell in love twice, which is how you ended up with a child.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's very true.
Oh.
That's a really cute take on that, and you've just melted me and
My
Robbie,
heart.
so deal with it. My heart hurts.
Oh no!
That's so cute. Oh,
It's true.
wow. Okay, Bob's, I guess. Like, how did you do it?
I wanted to play a child pretending to be an adult in a fake beard.
Yep, that was, as I recall, the
That's pretty
sum
much
total
it.
of your plan.
And then I went, oh, backstory. Jason, you have it. I won't remember. I don't remember.
I love that as a thing. Just like, nah, you can. That's yours. You can have the backstory.
Enjoy.
I asked each of you as a question when we started out, what is your reason for going on the road? And you all gave me different ones, and I remember Scamps, and it was the saddest one. I have no reason to stay.
Whoa, so sad. No. That is the saddest.
That is true. It's
Oh.
Yeah, it is.
It's okay, we've taken you away from the horrible place. It's fine. Everything's fine. So, next question. It's sort of a double question. So, favourite moment so far and scariest moment so far. Shall we do favourite first?
Favourites.
Yeah.
Oh god, so hard. We've been doing this for such a long time. Oh god.
Episode 22 in Alder's Keep, when you turned to Olga and you offered her a bargain. Because I had not expected that.
You know what?
And we were just flying by the seat of our pants at that point.
It's so funny because one of your favourite moment, I think that's my scariest moment. That's not the only one. I have 2 scariest moments. My scariest moment is that because I did not plan that, I have to say. You can hear it in my voice because it's shaking, but like I didn't plan to do that. I just went, what can I do? Little Corzin's gonna die in character, and just did something. So I was literally like flying by the seat of my pants. That was probably one of the scariest. The other scariest one was being in front of Utu and just thinking, like, in and out of character, I'm willing to get killed because I'm not going to back down. It was the first time that's happened. I really thought I might get her killed because I was like, she's not going to back down and she's not going to bow, so she might just die.
That is my scariest moment as a player, because it was like, right, well, Utu attacks Celestia and she dies, and I'm going to just stand here. Literally just going to stand here.
Wow.
I will not intervene because I cannot. Because there are bigger things at play. And I hate it. I hate it, but I will watch you die.
Horrifying.
Wow.
I guess let's finish off the scariest moments then, Sam. What was your scariest?
I think the scariest moment was during the battle with the Ebon Guards in Vondion, falling off the building into the crate of apples.
Fucking, I really thought you were dead just then. Like, I really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
That was like, Corzin's dead. This is the end. Like, genuinely. Also, like, Corzin's dead and Celestia's kidnapped.
Yeah.
Like, that was what was so scary about it, because it was like, there's no one around to help. It's just camp if Corzin's dead. This is horrific. Like, it was so bad. It's funny though, talking about this, like, the scariest moments are also often my favourites.
Yeah.
Because
Same.
these are all favourites as well. And again, another favourite and scariest is in the corridor with Leah in episode 36.
That is my scariest moment, because I didn't know what would happen.
I didn't either. That was one of the times that I've been the most nervous ever. And what happened was different to what I thought it would be. It's fascinating. But yeah, favourite moments.
Ooh. Everything Jeffrey does. I love Jeffrey so much.
Favourite moment? It's so hard. I've so many. That's way harder.
The treaty. The whole of the ratifying that fucking treaty.
No, that was amazing.
Ooh.
That's true.
Like, you couldn't see us over the microphone, but we all actually, like, held on to each other while Jason was doing the verdict. 'Cause it was amazing.
Yeah.
I wasn't even there for that, like, in character, and that was one of my favourites.
I love the fact that changed the course of things.
We changed history.
Very much.
Yeah.
Anything where we get to really change the world is super cool, actually. But also, sometimes just little tiny character moments I really love as well. Like, one of my favourite moments I wasn't in was, like, Corzin and Clara on the roof at the party.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my favourites, I have to say.
It nearly destroyed me, but it was gorgeous. There are so many, I'm really struggling, like, genuinely.
Yeah, well, for me, the ones that, other than that came up were pretty much the first third of episode 69, for reasons.
Nice.
But also, well, that's it. Not even once.
I was about to say killing Olga. Olga being dead.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Oh,
it was so good.
Corzin making that decision. Jesus.
Every single encounter with Olga was scary for me because I never knew she'd make it out alive.
Yeah.
There was always the possibility she wouldn't.
So much fun.
I only ever planned up to the next encounter and did my utmost to figure out a way to escape.
I think we're going to continue to waffle about, like,
Sorry, yeah.
I feel like we all have so many favourite moments that we can't pin down one. I think that's what we've established from this conversation, because all of the scariest ones are also my favourites. Like, it's just like, another one for Jason. Jason, what was your favourite world-building element to reveal?
Favourite world-building element to reveal? Possibly the Dreamfold.
Oh, it was good. It was so good.
Because you were the only one who knew what was coming, because I discussed it I'd mentioned it to you briefly when I was starting, when I was coming up with the base ideas for Calcinia.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, you just knew that it existed.
Yeah, I didn't know that in character, though.
That's a big one, but my absolute favourite? Episode 37. Because I started seeding the Kraken back in episode 7, and I got and that was when I had the chat with and it was about the time I put the jewel in the game that I had the chat with you, Corzin, and with you, Sam, about what Corzin had seen. And I love that in episode 17 you mentioned it. You mentioned the waves. You mentioned the lightning striking 5 times, and then I just sat on that for 20 fucking episodes.
You absolute beast.
Yeah. Just quietly sat with it.
And got to pull the Kraken on you when you were level 5, or whatever it was.
This is actually a double-barreled question, so. She's also asked us, it is still Liz, isn't it? Yes, it is. She's also asked us, player characters, what was your favourite backstory element to reveal?
Ooh.
Which is really hard, actually. There's been a lot. I really enjoyed revealing that it wasn't my real name.
Yeah.
I know that's stupid, but I sat on that forever. Like, for so long. And even after I revealed that it wasn't my name, we didn't know what my name was for like a really, really long time. And now we've got to the point where it was normal, but it was huge at one point for there to be another name and to reveal what that was. But there have been a lot. And revealing that Mum invented the Ebon Guard, that was fun. Just because then you get an idea of, like... obviously we don't know everything about Celestia's mother yet, so I'm not going to talk about it too much in detail, but I think just like throwing in there, oh well, she invented the Ebengard for a start, I really enjoyed, because I felt like that kind of gave you an idea of how bad it might be. And I enjoyed throwing that in as a seed and just watching everyone be like, oh shit, like, for a start? Okay, cool. Yeah. Anything that suggests there's more things, anything that suggests without actually going into properly how bad something is, I always really, really enjoy. Like, just little things that suggest a lot. Anyway.
Yeah.
Somebody else.
Well, actually, on that note, both for as much for how it happened as for what it was, the existence of Little Corzin.
Oh, yeah. That was a lovely episode.
Oh, that was a moment.
Oh, episode 17 was definitely one of my favourites. It was lovely.
Yeah.
It was so cute as well.
First time I cried in character.
Oh. And Bob's, it's weird for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I gave my backstory to Jason, so
Yep.
it's
I
not
know
like
more
I've been
about it than you
waiting
do.
on any reveals. Really, the fact I was a tiefling right at the beginning of episode 1, that was great.
It was.
That's cool, actually.
It was really, really fun that you came in with a disguise and almost immediately took it off.
Because the disguise was the identity that was made.
It was so good.
Like,
okay.
well, this didn't work. Oh well.
Never mind.
Bob's asked Bob's asked if they could start with a 100 gold piece diamond to cast a spell. I said, okay, but there's a price. The price is the person you nicked it from knows you nicked it.
I'll take that.
Okay, we're on to our next person. So these questions are from ArtistiX Hobbies, and she has asked, what are the qualities you like and dislike most about the characters you all play, and why? Ooh, difficult.
Ooh, yeah.
I guess I can start, if you like.
Yeah.
Celestia, I love her ballsiness, and her cheek, and her charm, and her sarcasm. I don't like her selfishness, necessarily. Because she's not always selfish, don't get me wrong, like, she does think about other people, but when it comes to the effect that not taking care of herself has on other people, she doesn't think. And she doesn't think, if she gets addicted to a substance, what effect will that have on the people around me? So there is an element of selfishness to her that I think if I met her I would struggle with. Oksana, oh god, there's something hardy about Oksana that I really like. She is rough and hardy and unbreakable, and I have a lot of time for that. What do I not like about Oksana? She can be a bit mean sometimes. She was very mean to Sabnet before she knew him properly. Sam, do you want to go next?
Yeah, okay. I think for Corzin, the thing that I like the most is his capability, but also his compassion with it. And possibly the thing that I dislike about him is that in the same way as it's his strength, it's also his weakness that he's kind of hyper-focused.
Yeah.
And for Sabnet, I like his roguish charm, but also and this was an interesting thing to play, but I dislike it in terms of my own personality, like his just obliviousness to a certain number of things that are right in front of him that he's just never had to deal with because he has lived the life he has and was born into the situation he was.
Yeah. Bobs, what about you?
I love how much Scamp cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. They'll never stop caring about everyone they meet.
Oh.
But it also means that they are scared to hurt people, even when things need to be said or need to be done. They hate the idea that anyone could get hurt. And that can be a problem. Like, sometimes you have to be cruel to someone and say something that needs saying or do something that needs doing. And they're never happy to do that.
Oh.
Xander. I love the practicality of them sometimes. It's cold, but it gets stuff done and it's fun to play and it's interesting. But also the fact that they don't care about individuals anymore, that's... you never want to get to that point. People always matter.
Yeah.
And they've stopped seeing individuals. They see the world needs changing. They would be willing to sacrifice anyone to get what needs doing done. Yeah, including the people they care about most. And themselves. Ugh.
Rough. The next one is also a deep one, so stay in this moment. How do you think they have grown as people over the course of the campaign? I guess these ones will just answer for the core three rather than Xander and people, because
there wasn't much time to grow.
Yeah.
There was a lot of growth, but...
who wants to go first on this one?
I think mine's simplest, hugely in both cases, actually. And because of the, chiefly because of the other people around them.
How do you think he's grown is the question, though? Like, what do you think's changed?
I think, he's certainly got a lot less of a death wish, and actually realising that was a thing that happened, that it was a thing that he had, was a big character moment for him.
Ooh. I guess... Bob's?
Less afraid. So much less afraid. Stopped expecting people to leave as well. Nearly.
Getting there.
But, learning to trust that people aren't going to just go away. And that they're not a monster. That was a big one. Finding out not actually a monster. Lovely.
Oh, huge.
That's changed how they see the world a lot.
Celestia's changed a lot in multiple ways. It's the first character where I've had an alignment shift. Like, from what I wrote down on the piece of paper in the first place. She now cares about people and cares about trying to do good and believes that change can happen, which she super didn't at the start of the campaign.
I remember that conversation with Jean-Paul Savat back in, episode 18 or something.
And then by, episode 60, whatever, she's heading up the revolution. So there was clearly a shift. And also a lot less cagey and secretive, and a lot more trusting of very certain people. She didn't trust anyone, and she wasn't going to tell you anything. And she didn't believe in friends and that kind of thing. Like, she didn't believe that was important, and that people could ever be trusted. So, lots of really big changes there. I'm going to move on to the next question.
Very quickly, actually, before you do, I just want to know the biggest change that you as a party have engineered in an NPC has to be Clara.
Oh.
Because I wrote Clara to be a villain originally.
Good.
Clara was a
wow.
Oh God.
I can absolutely have seen how it would have happened.
She was on that trajectory. She was on that trajectory when you started, when you first, when she first started journeying with you, and you changed that.
Oof.
One of the things I love about this
That's
adventure is how
gratifying.
much you guys have changed things.
Yeah.
That's really cool, and I love it.
Hard say.
Nice to know.
I'm having feelings.
I know. I'm just imagining how it would feel for Scamp if Clara went villain. No.
Oh, awful. So awful.
I did imagine that, which is the reason I wrote it that way originally.
Yeah,
I hate you. I hate you.
That's amazing. So our next set of questions are from Game Phantom DM. Now, you sent us a lot of questions, Game Phantom DM, and I'm so sorry because most of them we can't answer because spoilers. So please don't be offended, because there were some really, really interesting questions, but I looked through it with Jason beforehand, and there were so many where he was like, I can't because there's going to be reveals. So I'm so sorry. We're answering a lot less questions than you gave us. I do apologise. So the first one I think we can answer is is this word said like Draugr? Is that Draugr?
Dwergar.
Draugr are in Empire LARP. That's why I think that's a thing. They're not in D&D. I'm sorry. How do Dwergar figure into the setting, if at all? Are there Eladrin tied to the Dreamfold?
Okay.
This I feel could not be spoilery.
So there are not Dwergar in the traditional D&D setting sense. Dwarves are creatures of both worlds. They are equally at home on the surface as they are in the Underdark. I'm not rooting out that I might not, make use of the Dwergar statistics in a particular clan of dwarves, but a lot of what is assumed about races and species I'm not necessarily playing with, in the way that you're not likely to find Gith. But the...
Oh, that was actually one of his future questions. He said, what about GIF? So,
GIF, no.
Oh, GIF.
GIF? Who knows? There might be some hippopotamus people somewhere.
Okay, well, that's one of his future questions. He said, what about GIF? So hippo people might exist.
So to answer that as well, a lot of the tangential, a lot of the fun little races exist somewhere in Calcinia. There's a small population of turtles or furbolgs or whatever, but they're not majority. They're not majority species. There's only a couple which are blanked out entirely. That there are no changelings because of the doppelganger problem. The world does not look how it does if there were doppelgangers. To answer the question about Eladrin, the mortal inhabitants of the Dreamfold are gnomes. There aren't Eladrin. They're on the ones that kind of got cut. Maybe there's a species of elf somewhere with cool autumny powers or something, but not part of the main groupings.
Fair enough. So the next question, he has also asked what about GIF later on, which we've already answered.
Yep.
The next question is one of my favourites on this survey. How few fucks can Celestia give when Celestia gives no fucks? Pretty fucking few is the answer.
Love it.
Not a fuck lot.
Fuck all, if you will.
Yeah, fuck all. It was a great question. Thank you. I enjoyed it. This, I think you can answer without spoilers. Though planar matters are relatively unknown / divorced / different from what many of us are familiar with the broader D&D legacy, do the Githyanki or the Githzerai hold any place in the future of the setting?
Yeah, basically, answered that already because I was shortening both Githyanki and Githzerai to Gith, and
okay.
Yeah, no, they don't. Not as they are. Again, I might use the statistics somewhere, but there's some things that I've just written out. I have used the statistics for Driders, but Driders as they are, in standard D&D do not exist, even though you've been down to the Underdark, etc.
Awesome. And I'm so sorry, Game Phantom, but the rest of your questions are so spoilery that we very much cannot answer them, but they were very, very interesting and we did enjoy reading them, so thank you so much for sending them to us. But yeah, I'm sorry that you're not getting all the answers you wanted. So next person is Taysul, who you can find on Twitter. So the first one is, do bugbears exist in Calcinia? We've met some. Scamp gave them sweets.
Yes, we have.
Absolutely they do. Bugbear, so the three, as they are poetically referred to in the Regency scripture, the 3-in-1 people, goblinoids, all exist. Goblins, hobgoblins and bugbears, they are one species, and goblins are the neotenous form. They can remain as goblins for their entire lifespan, but under the right nutritional and environmental conditions, they can kind of go through sort of like a Pokemon style evolution and turn into either hobgoblins or bugbears.
That's cool.
I always imagine it's like molting.
Yeah, they kind of pass out for a day and just grow like crazy.
Cool. Our next question. Who has been your favourite minor / non-recurring NPC? So favourite one-off NPC. I know mine, and it's Letitia. Letitia, who talks like a muppet. That one. I loved her. She was everything.
Oh,
yeah.
There are a couple who haven't appeared much.
I guess they said minor or non-recurring, so yeah.
Yeah, so we can't include, for instance, Crosswater Sentinel Boy.
Oh, I did love him, though.
We keep finding ways to bring back all my favourites because we like them
anyone we
just
like,
go back.
we
We're like, yes.
You can stay.
Peter on the Hesperidia.
Oh,
Yep.
Peter the coffee NPC is high quality NPC content.
He's
Still
the
on
big bad. He's definitely the big bad.
He is.
I hate him.
Kind of, yeah. I was trying to think. Kind of partial to Jimothy Chanter.
Jimothy Chanter was great.
Yeah.
Oh,
everyone
Timothy
in
Buchanan actually is up
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Because he only recurred a bit, but I really, really liked him.
Yeah.
It was the worst. Yeah. Are we done with that one?
I think we're done with that one.
Yeah.
What has given you the greatest satisfaction since you started releasing the podcast? God, that's a hard question.
The
I
community.
think the community that's
The
grown
community.
around. Yeah.
Actually, no, it's not a hard question. We've all said the same thing.
Yeah.
The community. Like,
the
you lot,
community.
honestly. Yeah, people...
By far.
People
Yeah.
having enthusiasm and talking about it, and people being friends because of this. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been a lot of cool shit, but I think the community is the top thing. And yeah, I love
Yeah,
that
that's
we all
huge.
immediately said that as well. That's perfect.
Yeah.
This is an adorable question, the next one. What is your favourite sweet, and what would your characters be?
Ooh.
My favourite sweet's actually really hard.
Yeah.
I love sweets. Ooh. I don't know.
Flying
Because I-
saucers are pretty high up.
What was that?
Flying saucers.
Flying
Love
saucers are
flying
good.
saucers. Especially dipping them in tea.
Oh, licorice flyers are my favourite sweets. The ones that have the, like, flavoured sugar going all the way through them. They're really, really good.
Oh, there's these veggie sweets in my local sweet shop that are shaped like mermaids, and they're bubblegum flavour, and they're amazing. And Scamp would totally love them.
Oh.
Yes.
What's Scamp's favourite sweet?
Oh, chocolate.
Yeah,
At the
fair.
moment, it's chocolate. They'll
Oh,
get sick of it eventually and go looking for more sweets.
Yeah.
Hard to
I
say.
think. Yeah.
Sam?
I think mine's out of character. Mine's definitely toffee, but also I think actually Corzin would be fairly partial to that as well. Sabnitz is revealed in an episode that has not yet aired.
Ah, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't tell them what that is. They
Yeah.
can listen.
Yeah.
I think Celestia's favourites. I've always thought she'd love dark chocolate gingers. You know that like crystallized ginger covered in dark chocolate that you
Yeah.
get. I just thought. I just
yeah.
think she'd love it. I think she's a girl for like deep, dark, spicy sort of flavours.
Okay.
Or cherry liqueurs because they've got booze in.
Yeah.
Olga apple sours.
Why?
Yeah.
Scrimshaw licorice. I hate licorice, but I imagine
love it.
she'd
I love
like it.
licorice.
Clara, I want to say like you know those little I don't know the terms. They're like the little toffees that are covered in chocolate.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know the ones.
Yeah. For me, I like Indian sweets, just like
Indian
the
sweets
whole
are
kind of general
so
thing. Like I like gulab jamuns, but I
Oh
really
my god, we still have some Indian sweets in the
Yes,
fridge.
we do.
Everything's great.
I
Yes.
had some chom chom the other night. That was lovely, which is not a type of banana, but is actually
Yeah.
an Indian sweet.
Pista barfi is the best though. Pistachio barfi is good. Oh, maybe I have to reassign my favourite to pistachio barfi because it's amazing.
Indian sweets are incredible.
Indian
Yeah.
sweets are the best.
Yes, they are.
We made Sam lose his Indian sweet virginity a while back. It was fun.
That's very
have
true.
Indian
Yes, and
sweets.
it was
Yeah.
delightful.
When you hang around for me for long enough, you get Indian food.
And it's always delicious, so I'm
Yes.
here for it.
It's not a bad side effect of being my
Yes.
friend.
Quite so.
So, the next. Are we ready for the next question? Next
Yeah.
question. With a shocked face, are vampires really real? With that face.
I think that question's been
Is
answered.
this in world or
Like in world or like in our
Or
world,
like just now.
or in Calcinia? Because in Calcinia, like
That has been answered.
that one has been answered. In our world, yes.
things like
I hate you. He stared at the
give me
microphone when I said
nightmares.
that. Was terrifying. Jason, this next question is entirely your fault,
Yes.
I'm going to say. Will A Fistful of Cocks be released, and what is the context behind it? You have made your bed, you can lie in it.
Sorry.
I don't know when
I
you
have a copy
mentioned this
now.
on
I do
air.
not know
but-
when I mentioned that. So, A Fistful of Cocks is the my collated songbook of songs, of dirty songs that I wrote for Empire LARP. It has been released at Empire LARP, and if you're a LARPer that goes there, you can get it for me. You can get it from my character. I doubt that it will see a release in our world or in Calcidia, but at some point, I'm sure we'll do something with the songs that we have written.
I mean, you've already had a crossover song from that. The Milkmaid song.
True, Milkmaid song was originally
that was originally a LARP song. So
that
you've
I
had
wrote. Yeah.
you've had a single cock from the Fistful of Cocks.
Yes, from the Fistful of Cocks.
I think on that note we should move on to the next set of questions. Okay. Sorry, there's a duplicate of those questions. So the next one is from Mara, and they have said, first off for Jason, although anyone else can answer as well, if you world build. Oh, I think we've had this. How do you do all of your world building, especially the history? I think we've said this, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, just to quickly cover the history specifically, I keep a master timeline called The Truth, where I just write down a quick note, don't show it to anyone, of what has actually happened on one side and then what people think has happened on the other side, and that's really important to have.
That's really cool, and I love that as a way of doing
That's
it.
awful. I love it.
That's amazing.
I want to see. I want to look at them both and compare.
When we stop playing Calcinia, or sometime after campaign 4, I will show that to you.
That is
Okay.
I think we will have
And I
gone
will
through
hold you to
all of
that.
the secrets by that point.
Yeah. Also for Jason, how much time has gone into making the ship battles accurate?
More than I wish I'd spent.
Lots.
Okay, here's the thing. Absolute correct accuracy would require us to play this on a grid map, which I don't want to do because the type we do. Like I will keep a small note in front of me of where I've positioned things, but we're doing it for an audio medium. I have made the ship statistics as accurate as I can get away with, while still with a mind to the mechanics of the game and to keeping things fun. There is a certain amount of stuff that I abstract, like when we get into huge battles and so on. Things that your ship is not directly engaging are likely to get abstracted, just because the focus of Dungeons and Dragons is very much on the achievements of individual heroics.
No, fair.
Yeah,
I like that. For everyone, why a Napoleonic/pirate D&D campaign? Why not a typical medieval campaign or any other style? I think we've half covered this, and that's definitely a question for Jason more than any of us, I feel.
So
I mean, pirate, as we've said, Sam
pirate
played a
is
sailor.
fun. Yeah, but the pirate thing is because you chose to
Yeah.
play a sailor. I actually gave Sam, I think I've mentioned it before on a previous Q&A, but I gave you a choice of whaling ship, merchant ship, or privateer, and you selected privateer.
Yep.
I think, God, the whaling ship would have been a miserable experience.
Yeah.
Campaign.
All up in frozen Meadmere. Why Flintlocks? I mean, why not medieval? Here's the thing. I don't agree with the statement that medieval sword and sorcery is done. I don't like the idea of something is like it's been done or it's done. You can always do a genre and do it well, as long as you tell your story faithfully.
I mean, everything's been done.
Everything's been
doesn't
done.
mean you shouldn't do
it
it.
shouldn't mean you should do it. But I do like non-medieval settings, and I particularly liked the idea of taking D&D and just going forward 700 years. And seeing what happens if you take a D&D setting and, advance socially, politically, and technologically a little bit more.
Awesome. And finally, when this campaign ends, is there a plan for a further campaign, or is this one and done?
I have rolled my character.
We have frequently mentioned
I
campaign
can't believe
2.
you've actually rolled your character, Rob. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play it for a year.
I've designed mine loosely. I know what I'm doing in campaign 2.
Yeah. If there is cause for it, I have rough arcs all the way to campaign 3. I have an idea for what could happen in campaign 4, and camp, which would be like the 1960s or something, and the idea, and I'm deeply amused by the idea of doing a 20 minutes in the future campaign 5 at some point.
I love that. I'm so up for
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
it. Let's do 5 campaigns.
Me too.
Yes.
But that,
Yep.
like, yeah, that's
6 seasons and a movie.
6 seasons in a movie is what we need.
yeah.
Yes.
But that is
Yeah.
literally like 8 years in the future.
Yeah. But so the answer to is this one and done? No,
No.
definitely not.
For as long as we can keep doing this and enjoying it, we will.
So,
Yeah.
these questions are from D&D Geologist, or Ammon, whichever you prefer to call him. He's on Twitter. He's very nice. He's also part of the Tales of Swordfall podcast, who are lovely, and you should check them out. They're all very, very nice people, and also a great campaign. So, for the players, has the campaign taken any big turns that you didn't expect?
So many.
Oh my god, I've got whiplash. It's like being on a fucking
Repeatedly.
go-kart and the course just isn't what you expected it to be. I don't know why it's a go-kart.
I honestly can't even summarise how many times that's happened.
Yeah, no, me neither. Like, thousands of times. Just the twists have been
Yeah.
crazy.
Like, even within the first episode, things did not go the way I was expecting them to.
Yeah, same, actually. And since then, there've just been so many curveballs.
Yeah.
You know, even just down to, like, I mean, world stuff, but also, like, individual stuff. Like, down to, like, you've been looking for this girl for, like, 36 episodes. She's fucking married. Wow. Like,
Great.
okay. I thought she'd break up with me. I didn't think she'd be married. Like,
I ended the first episode with a noose around my neck held by someone I thought I'd killed.
Yeah.
oh shit, yeah. No, that was a twist for you, wasn't it?
Yes, quite.
You found a musical town.
Yeah,
We did find a musical
fucking
town.
Hell, Jimothy, yeah.
And just so much, like, actual big world stuff as well. Like, there have been so many. The answer is yes, the campaign has taken turns we didn't expect. For the DM, have the players done anything you didn't expect?
Like most episodes,
Every
yeah,
day,
most
yeah.
episodes. There have like I mentioned Clara before and turning her. That was the thing I didn't expect. I didn't expect the deal with Olga. There are some things where sometimes I don't expect the party to be as sane and reasonable as they are. Sometimes they're like the party's some really good genre savvy going at times. But sometimes I'll catch you unawares, or you will not think of a thing I expect you to. But that's like standard DMing. That's very normal. But you guys have you've taken things in interesting places and done interesting things, and I enjoy being along for that ride. I say being along for that ride. It's more like being at the steering wheel and having you just like every now and again and pulling it to the side.
Having like 3 horrible children in the car who just do weird stuff, and you have to try and keep the fucking car going.
Apt comparison.
Yeah. So next question. There are a couple from the same people as earlier because they got a little bit separated out. So this is another from Devon. One final one from Devon. So he's asked everyone, what was your favourite bonus content that you've recorded and why?
Ooh,
Either the Magic Arrow or Rattling Bog.
Magic Arrow was a
Yeah,
experience.
It was an experience. It was fun though.
that's my favourite one to listen to, and I can say it's always the one I recommend to people because I had nothing to do with it, and so it doesn't feel like I'm just bigging myself up.
Oh no, Break the Wheel. Break the Wheel was my favourite. That song, frankly, it means a lot with real life backstory things, without getting too heavy. And Jason came to me like, I've written this really badass song about childhood trauma. I was like, oh, fucking perfect, let's do it. So that probably takes the prize for me, actually. Jason, what about you?
The lights. Jeez.
Oh, what were you saying, Bobs?
Both hold the lights.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
Yeah, both of those have been released.
Yeah.
They were so good as well. I loved them.
You write good songs, Jason.
Thank you.
write really
I have
good
no
songs.
credit.
Good for good songwritings.
Silk and Sail, because I wrote that in a frenzy in 10 minutes before the rest of you were coming in, and I needed to record something for I think like the day after.
That's perfect.
Sometimes bonus content is solidly propped up ahead of time with a reasonable buffer, and sometimes Come and send your worries, come and shed your cares.
Samothy, what about you?
Okay, I think actually the Halloween special that I DM'd was a lot of fun to do, just getting to play around in this world, albeit hundreds of years previously, and hopefully not completely and utterly screw up all of your deep lore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a nice, very light-hearted, very silly game of D&D, and I really enjoyed it.
Always nice.
My
to be
Little
silly.
Pony was fun.
My Little Pony
getting
was
the chance to
I
DM
wasn't like
was
counting
fun.
the one-shots in my bonus content stuff,
Yeah.
but My Little Pony was everything
Yeah.
as well. It was wonderful.
Christmas LaBeouf was fun
Oh.
too.
That was so much
Buffmas was
fun.
like terrifying for me, but also fun. It was the second time I'd ever DM'd anything. It was like, I'm going to do something where I improvise every single thing, and that will be completely fine.
Yeah.
so well though.
The only thing I decided was that it was a shopping centre at Christmas because I found that funny,
Yep.
and that there would be zombies.
That is
I
the
decided
exact
nothing
level
else.
of preparation you should do for actual Cannibal Shire LaBeouf.
Yeah, I mean, it says
Yeah.
in the brief, don't prepare, so I
Yeah.
just didn't. It was fun, though. Again, these questions have got a little bit split up, so there are another couple from Sarah, who I mentioned before. I love this one. During a zombie apocalypse, what would your weapon of choice and or survival strategy be? Find Robbie and be with them. Robbie is my weapon of choice and survival strategy in a zombie apocalypse.
Pose as a god, start a cult, use my followers to achieve my ends.
There was a storage unit near where we used to live that had high walls but open tops to all the units, like indoors, and it was also
Yeah.
next to a big supermarket and an IKEA. I think you could build a city in that storage centre.
We always said we'd go
Yeah.
to IKEA in a zombie apocalypse, and I
Yes.
stand by that. What would my actual weapon of choice that is not Robbie be? I don't know. Genuinely, you have been my zombie apocalypse plan for ages, because I just think you'd be so good in one. I think you'd be, like, really sensible in one, and I think I'd go feral and weird and kill things. So I think we'd be a great team. Like,
We'd be a great
we'd
team,
stay
yeah.
alive
You
for
should come
ages.
join the cult. I need a berserker and I need someone to deal with the
Perfect.
practical things.
Sam, what are you doing in the zombie apocalypse?
I think probably sniper rifle for weapon. And
Oh, you can both shoot bows. You'd be great.
yeah,
They're nice and quiet.
I would definitely have the bow with me. That's certainly a good backup. But also, a sailboat or some form of vehicle that didn't require petrol, because that's going to run out quickly.
Very true.
Yeah.
Petrol would be a huge problem.
I mean, there's a sailing club near me, but that's not going to be much use because it's a lake.
I
You're
mean,
not
if you,
going
could
far.
get, if you could get one run out of your car, you could join all of us in IKEA, and we could keep.
Yeah,
we could
yeah,
get a
join
Jason's
generator,
cult.
Yeah.
take all the tech equipment, and keep recording Flintlocks while there's zombies going
Yeah.
outside. Perfect.
That's perfect.
Oh, dice would be so important in the zombie apocalypse because you're going to need something to keep you sane.
My dice bag would absolutely be coming with me to be a thing packed for a zombie apocalypse, because you can do
Oh,
any
yeah.
game ever with a bag of dice.
And if it's heavy enough, you can
Yeah.
also hit people with it.
Yes, you
That's
can.
very
I
true.
mean,
You could probably hit
yeah,
someone with my
these
dice bag. You
days-
could definitely kill someone with Robbie's when it's full.
Yours is nearly as big these days.
Mine is, I don't know why I'm like talking like this, mine is pretty massive these days. I think you could murder someone with it.
Yeah.
The next question I think we've already answered, which is what aspect of the podcast are you most proud of?
Yep.
The community. We've already said this. This is also
You
a great
guys.
question, just for us. This isn't a D&D question. Which fictional universe would you want to go on holiday to, and what would you do there? Hard.
I've been watching
That's
a
really
lot of
difficult.
Steven Universe lately, and I really want to go. I really enjoy visiting Beach City.
I would love to go to Beach City and meet Garnet and Pearl and everyone. Yes, mostly Garnet, to be honest. I just want to be friends with Garnet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to join you in the Steven Universe Beach City, and I'm
Yeah.
going to be friends with Garnet, and it's going to
Yeah.
be great. That's what I'm doing. What about you two?
No idea. I'm looking at all my books on the wall going, one of them must.
That's a really, really tricky one.
You see,
Trouble
a
is
lot
with
of
the
the
good
books
fantasy
and stuff
universe,
that-
they're not good. You don't
Yeah,
want
a
to be
lot
there.
Yeah, a lot of the books that I like they have really scary universes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, you know
I
what
don't
I
want to
mean?
live in those.
Yeah, I'm like, I have a lot of worlds that I really like, but very few that I would go on holiday to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why the Steven Universe one has stood out, because that's just
Oh,
a nice town where
Hilda.
weird stuff happens. Oh, Hilda.
Oh, Hilda,
Oh.
yes. That'd be a good,
Yes.
good place to go for a holiday.
You could meet some waifs. It'd be
Yeah.
lovely.
I love the wafts.
Oh,
Spot a deer fox.
yes.
Oh,
Oh, perfect. I
Try
like
not to
that
get
one.
mittens.
Yeah. Sam, what about you?
Slight cheat of yeah, I was going to say, this is a slight cheat of that question, but I was going to say Doctor Who, because literally with a TARDIS you can go anywhere.
I like that answer. That's a good answer. So, next lot of questions. We're getting near the end now. So this is from Cornish Philosopher. Hello, Cornish Philosopher. What? Oh, I think we've answered this one. What are the most surprising changes in your characters we have already covered, I
Sure.
believe.
Yeah.
What are your favourite spells?
ooh.
Like
tell you
our
what my
characters
least
can
favourite
cast, or
ones
in
are.
D&D generally.
Raise
It
dead.
just says what are your favourite spells. I mean, I guess I'm going to do For Celestia, because I think that's more fun than just general favourite spells. I mean, Vicious Mockery, I really fucking love. I don't use it enough. Tasha's Hideous Laughter, I also love and refuse to give up, despite how little I use it, because I just think it's the stupidest thing.
But the finger puppets, they're
I
amazing.
just love them. I just love them so much. That's specifically for Celestia, though. The way I do that as Celestia, I like.
Yeah.
I love Minor Illusion. Minor
Yeah.
Illusion is so fun and flexible.
I love you guys trying to get over the fact that you can't animate the image by having two of you do a stop motion spectre in one of the early episodes.
Yeah,
It
that was
great.
Yeah.
Animate Objects is great.
Animate Objects is so good.
It's so right now, big fan of that. Also, big fan of Raised Dead right now.
Yeah. Oh, same. I love
Yeah.
Roasted. In Calcinia, Dream as well, but specifically in Calcinia, not necessarily anywhere else.
As a player, just Command is so useful.
Oh,
That
Command
is also
so
one of my
good.
least favourite spells.
I know it is.
My
I know
two
how
least
much you
favourite
hate
spells
it.
are Phantasmal Force and Command.
Yeah.
I
Command
haven't
is the
used Phantasmal Force in so long. I might actually drop it at some point.
Command is the reason that sensible DMs make sure that that you don't pit your players against a single enemy. Have some minions. That way that you don't just lose an entire round. Or give them legendary resistances.
Sam, what's
Also,
your favourite
I
spell?
mean, fine.
Okay, of Corzens currently, I think, partially just because of how it ended up being used in the first battle, it was used Lightning Shot. It's actually a reflavouring of Lightning Arrow from the base game, but
It's a lovely
yeah,
spell.
it's a very cinematic spell, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
And everyone loves a fireball.
Everyone loves
Oh,
a
yeah.
fireball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Narrowly Vicious Mockery takes it for me. I just wish I could do it. To be honest, it just makes my life so easy. So we've had what's your favourite sort of minor or non-recurring NPC. This is more general. Who's your favourite NPC? Wisdom.
Ooh.
Leah.
Wisdom.
She makes me cry. Oh, we've both picked our nearly girlfriends.
Olga.
Olga.
Yeah,
Of
fair.
course it is. Sam, what about you?
I think. Oh. Yeah, it's Molly. It's
Oh.
I was gonna say, if you
we're
don't pick
adorable.
Molly, she's gonna have
Everyone
words.
picks their girlfriend.
If you don't pick Molly, she'll punch you.
No,
She'll come out into the
no,
real world.
Jason.
Also, it's not only just for how she is,
You're the
but for what,
worst.
but for what she means to Corzin.
Yeah.
That is. That is.
Olga's not your girlfriend, Jason. I'm your girlfriend. Asshole. But yeah. So our last two questions are from Rebecca/Rob Grimaldi. And their questions are, I mean, will we ever see a Dragonborn character? I think we have.
back in
Ages
episode
ago.
Did
one.
in the second episode.
No, episode 2.
Episode 1, because we went to
Yeah,
Slave
you went
House.
to Saito's
So we
before.
did, yes.
Oh.
I stand corrected.
so
Yeah.
yes, we have already.
Yes.
We haven't seen many. but
There aren't many because the places you've been travelling, there aren't a lot of them. Dragonborn are mostly on the Dragon Coast because they tend to be around the Draconic Empire and the island and the archipelago they're in,
That
along
makes
with
a lot of
kobolds.
But yeah, if you jumped in later than episode 1, though, you might not have seen a Dragonborn, so that would make sense. The last one is do halflings have the same sub-races in your universe, and how do they get on?
I mean, they do, but clan allegiance, familial feuds somewhat overwhelm like sub-race elements for halflings. Whether you're, like Ghostwise or Longfoot or whatever it is, or Stones, I can't remember the names of the halfling sub-races off the top of my head, is less important.
Stout, Lightfoot,
Ghostwise, is less important than, oh, so you're the granddaughter of that bastard what nicked my great grandaunt's hammer, are you?
Great grand aunt. That was a lot as a sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 2 grands ago.
And on that bombshell, shall end the questionnaire, or also known as a Q&A. Fuck right. That did not go well. Stowaways, thank you so much for all of your questions. We got so many this time, and you were so enthusiastic. We really appreciate it. I'm sure we will be doing this again, so if it kind of passed you by on the social medias or anything like that, and you didn't see a place to submit your questions, please don't worry. I'm sure it will happen again in a few months. And thank you for being on board with us for 75 episodes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We love you all very much.
We love you.
Fair questions and also natural questions. Goodbye.
Because we didn't give space for it at the start, well, you can now have the outro song. And it's questions, answers, Q&A, episode Q&A. We'll answer questions all the day. It's Q&A episode Q&A.
Questions.